All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What is going on, SHIPIT Nation, YouTube station? I'm back after the holidays. I was up at the cottage. Last Monday, we didn't have a show. It was a nice little three-gamer. My guy right here, Hamwich, gave you the stone cold nuts on his quick hit. He filled in for me on Friday with the slate plan and took over solo show on Friday. So I appreciate you filling in while I was at the cottage with the girl and enjoying some 4th of July festivities. I got all my digits, so we're good there. Already passed that bill there. Didn't blow my fingers off with no fireworks over there. Hope everyone had a great holiday weekend. Stayed safe in the chat. Enjoyed the nice weather out there. But we're back, ready to kick off another full week of baseball ahead. Got a lot of big slates this week. Not so big a slate tonight, 5 gamers, but a lot of money to be made here. Overall, pretty good slate. We're going to talk through it. We're going to break it down like we always do. If you guys are new, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Helps us out a ton here. How much I'll bring you in, man. You smashed all weekend long. Appreciate you filling in, like I said, on Friday for me, covering the slate plan there, running the solo show. But how was your weekend, man? I know there was a lot of winners in the Discord. I had a couple chances up there when I did find enough service to build a team up in the freaking boondocks. But overall, how was your weekend, man? Happy Monday. What's going on, brother?
Yeah, good to be back in the saddle with the dynamic duo. Man, I'll tell you what, I did that Friday show solo. I'll talk for 30 straight minutes. It was tough. So, man, DGen does all of our golf stuff, and he does that talking solo for like an hour. So much props to him and anybody out there that can talk for an hour. You just feel like you're listening to yourself talk with no back and forth, but glad to have you back. Glad to have the people, man. We smashed it over here this weekend. Really all 4th of July, to be honest. You said it littered. Our Discord was littered with winners left and right in the MLB streets. Saw my guy Tambo got another ticket. Just tickets galore over here. But I like these little, I don't know, nades, maybe the 6 to 8 I kind of like. I don't really like those 13, 14 game slate. 5s just doesn't feel like quite enough. But you said it a minute ago, there's money to be made. Some great contest over on DK. Need FanDuel to pick their game up a little bit. Not as many good contests over there. We're looking forward to diving in this 5 game and get some winners with you.
Yeah, the best part about it is there's no rule that you can't play DK, you can't play FanDuel, vice versa. One site sucks. I'll tell you what, DraftKings typically always prize pools no matter how many games. If there's 2 games, 3 games, 12 games, 15 games, the prize pools are always good over here in the DraftKings streets. So maybe Hamwich needs to fire up the old the black and orange app instead of the blue and white app there tonight and see if he can take down the DraftKings folks here tonight. But yeah, you said it. I posted the link there in the chat. I'll highlight it up on the screen there. That's over at our Twitter. You can see the screenshots right there. If you click that link, free to check it out, retweet it there. But right now, free week, code FREE15. It expires tomorrow. Free week of all access pass to all of our behind-the-scenes content, our premium projections, our premium tools, including our Stone for all sports, the Shiptimizer, which is going to be launching here full swing here in about a month, I believe. You still get access to that. You can check out our in-house optimizer. Not too many others can say there. We've been working hard behind the scenes. Our members have been testing it out for free. That has been included in their membership. When it goes live here in about a month, it's all access pass to our site and the optimizer for $99 a month. Can't beat it, but use that promo code FREE15. You want to get in, check our stuff out, check our slate plans, check our core plays, check our Stone, check our projections out for all the sports for an entire week. Now's the time. Last chance to get in now. Flash deal. We had an incredible weekend, like Hamwich alluded to. You'll see some screenshots on that Twitter post there, but last chance. And get in there. Check out the education courses too, right? A lot of people have been asking questions in our Discord chat about MLB, right? High variance sport. We got an education course that talks you through game theory, lineup construction, stacking, this and that, kind of the ins and outs of MLB. We got one for PGA. We got one for NFL as well, NBA. We got those education courses. Check those out there. Those right there are worth using that promo code and just checking out for the week. Make a better player. That's what we're all about here. So check that out there. Like I said, last chance, we're going to bring it up. Free 15. It expires tomorrow. You go in on Wednesday and try and click that code in. It's not going to go through. You can obviously always sign up for all access there, but this gives you a little taste, right? 7-day taste here. So check us out, see what we have, and let our products do the talking. We can sit down here and spew all we want, but get in there. We like you guys to test it out and see, and have the products and our tools sell themselves. Is the approach that we like to take over here at SHIPIT Nation. Say hi to a couple people in the chat. Parabai in here, Jizzy, Richie Smalls, Minnesota Holla, Nate D, everybody. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Everybody on Playback and joining in throughout the show. Like I said, if you could hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It helps us out a ton. Yeah, but you're not going to break down pitching by tiers here today. We're just going to go the entire pitching slate here. I'm going to throw you two names. Number one, Chris Sale, obviously, right? Stone cold ace on the slate. Far and away the quote-unquote best play, right? Highest priced pitcher on both sites by far, right? $2,000 more expensive than Gavin Williams on DraftKings. And then SP2, some will say SP1 on the slate. Andrew Abbott against these Colorado Rockies at home at 8,200. So you're saving $2,300 going down to Abbott from Chris Sale. You got a lot of cheap bats to make things work on this slate, but those two are by far and away the two chalkiest pitchers on the slate. And then the third guy is going to be John Gray here. And, man, that's pretty scary to me because you look at John Gray, he's got a significant pitch count limit. I mean, I don't see him going more than 80 pitches here. And he has just looked absolutely atrocious so far. I think he's still broken. He struggled big time. I actually like the Angels on the other side of them. So those three are getting the ownership on DraftKings. But go ahead and break down the entire pitching slate. I do think there's some interesting options here down cheap that are not in bulletproof matchups, but hey, this mid-tier isn't in bulletproof matchups by any means either. Abbott's a fly ball guy in a small ballpark, good weather there in Cincinnati against a team that hits a lot of fly balls. You got Paddock, obviously, gets the matchup against the White Sox, but he's up and down. And then, like I said, John Gray is pretty fluky. So these three down at the bottom intrigue me quite a bit. The Diazes, the Feltners, the Monteros of the world, just to save that extra money, get me up some more expensive bats. I like some expensive offenses on the slate, obviously, that we're going to talk about. So throw it over to you, man. Really hit on Sale, really hit on Abbott, really hit on John Gray. And then any of these other guys you're looking at as pivots on the slate here.
Yeah, man, this is really tough for me. I'll be honest with you in the sense of, I mean, how do you not like Chris Sale? I mean, the guy's been dynamite. His last time out against this Giants team, the Giants hit left-handed pitching very well. He just goes out there and mows them down, right? Just you have to have him to be on the winner. Now it's a similar situation going to Arizona, taking on this Diamondbacks team. I mean, he's Chris Sale for crying out loud, but just look at the strikeout rates versus left-hand pitching for this Diamondbacks. I mean, 10%, 9%, 14%. 32 is obviously bad. 17, 10%, 5%. They just don't strike out. And at 11.5, I'm conflicted on whether or not to play Chris Sale on a short slate. I'm going to have some Chris Sale. I'll say that, but I also don't think it's the worst to have a couple contrarian stacks where you're stacking them. I just don't see the K upside tonight, Nades. I just don't on a small slate. I remember last year. You may not remember this. Spencer Strider goes into Texas. Everybody's playing Spencer Strider last year. You faded him. I listened to you on this show. You faded Spencer Strider as he went into Texas, and Texas blew him up. I mean, I could certainly see something like that. I think I'm a little bit lower on Sale than probably I should be. I mean, we haven't projected for a full 5 points, near the next guy. So that's why I'm torn. Interested to hear what you say on Sale. I mean, obviously a great play, but Andrew Abbott and Gavin Williams would be my next two. Let me just start with Gavin Williams. Really like Gavin Williams. I mean, this Detroit team has been terrible for most of the season. I mean, they're striking out about a 25% clip over the last 14 days versus right-handed pitching. This Gavin Williams kid throws at 97. He got roughed up in his first start against I think it was his first start this year anyway, versus Cincinnati. So I think some people will be down on him or against Chicago, the White Sox. My apologies. But I really like Gavin Williams. I know you have some interest in maybe some of those Colorado bats, but I don't mind Andrew Abbott. I mean, Colorado's striking out 30% plus against left-handed pitching. So, I mean, it's really I have Gavin Williams a little bit ahead of Andrew Abbott. I mean, I still have Sale ahead of Gavin Williams. Man, I think I might fade him. I think I could. And then my favorite cheapie, if you will, would be Chris Paddock taking on this lifeless White Sox team. Paddock not been very good. I'll be honest, against the Athletics his last 2 times out, but we've seen him put up some 26s, some 24s when the time is right, and I think the time might be right tonight, taking on this Chicago White Sox. That would be the 4 I have the most interest in, but I'm gonna be lower on Sale than maybe I should be.
Yeah, so I'll allude to it because you brought up the 11.5 price point. I think the conversation on FanDuel is a much different conversation with Sale. On DraftKings, personally, he's far and away. I will have 100%. I'm playing 3 teams tonight. Chris Sale, or 2 teams, excuse me. Chris Sale is on both of those teams currently right now. Just because the other guy, right, that I think people go to as the second SP on the slate, right, that you also alluded to is Abbott. Personally, I'm off of Abbott here tonight. If there's one chalk piece that I want to fade between the two in Sale and Abbott, I'm going to fade Abbott all day here tonight over Chris Sale. I just look at the numbers for Abbott. He's been very, very bad over the last month for sure. And he's a fly ball guy in Great American Small Park in 92-degree weather there in Cincinnati. I mean, an 18% strikeout rate over the last 30 days, just a 17% to lefties. Fly ball rate north of 40% in a small ballpark. And looking at these Rockies, man, over the last 30 days, they have 7 of their 9 hitters that have all ISO numbers over 250. Over the course of the season, they got 7 of their 9 hitters with a fly ball rate north of 30%. I think this is a spot where the Rockies, I won't be surprised to see the Rockies as the highest scoring, if not one of the highest scoring offenses here tonight on this slate at very low ownership. I mean, Abbott's projected to be 40 to 45% owned right now. So that's the reason there. I mean, it's just hard for me to get away from Chris Sale. I mean, I understand, right? This D-backs team doesn't have a lot of strikeouts, but there is still 3 bats in that lineup that are near 30% or higher in strikeouts. He faces each of those guys 2 times. I mean, that's 4 strikeouts, picks up a couple more. I mean, it's still Chris Sale at the end of the day. He's got a 36% strikeout rate on the road this season. So this is a matchup where I get the low strikeouts in the Diamondbacks. If Ketel Marte's out of that lineup too, that makes it even better. There's probably a higher strikeout bat in there, right? When you take a 10% strikeout batter out of the lineup, it's pretty hard to match that with another guy. So there's more strikeout ability there. Chris Sale for me, we definitely differ there. But like I said, the conversation on FanDuel is much different because Abbott on FanDuel is $2,000 cheaper there. And I mean, salary on FanDuel is much tighter, right? It's a lot harder there. So I would probably prefer Abbott over Sale on FanDuel. But again, FanDuel, you're going to get Sale at lower ownership there because of the $2,000 there. So for me, it's Chris Sale far and away. Like I said, I'm fading Abbott here tonight. That's the stand I'm taking. Gavin Williams, I get it, but this guy's got a pitch count concern. He struggled with control issues. He looked terrible in his AAA start there. Didn't pass 75 pitches, I think, if I recall correctly. I mean, he's a good strikeout guy and a good prospect. But for me, 8,500. I would much rather save, to be honest. That's kind of the reason I'm going. I'm off of Paddock as well. So for me, it's really Chris Sale in this slate, and then I'm dabbling with fire down at the bottom in Diaz, Feltner, and Montero. Montero at 4K. It's a tough matchup against Cleveland. Cleveland doesn't strike out, but at $4,000, he's looked good. He has some strikeout stuff. Give me some Montero is my second favorite pitcher on the slate. It's pretty gross to say, but it's more of the salary savings. You can build very nice teams, have a lot of offense, and I'm going more condensed tonight at pitcher and more spread out at offense is kind of the approach I'm taking. So for me, it's Sale, it's Montero, it's probably Feltner against the Chalks Cincinnati bats who have a lot of injuries there. and a lot of strikeouts overall, and then Diaz. Those kind of 4 guys are the guys I'm looking at. I'm not going to deal with John Gray and his injury concerns there, his pitch count concerns, and like I said, the way he's looked as of late. So I'm kind of off the wall outside of Chris Sale here tonight at pitcher, and to me, it feels good, and that's kind of the hill I'm gonna live on here tonight. So those are the 4 I'm playing. Hamich, go ahead and throw out your 4 pitchers here tonight, and then we'll jump game by game and talk some of these hitters.
Yeah, I guess I didn't realize that Marte missed Saturday and Sunday. The Stone and the other site has him in the projected lineup, but that'd be a huge miss if he does leave. I mean, all things considered, I mean, I still have Chris Sale. Obviously, he is ranked number 1 for me. I mean, he just by far and away the best projected pitcher. So I still would have him number 1. Want to wait until we get confirmed lineups, but I have Gavin Williams 2. Andrew Abbott 3, and then Chris Paddock. I mean, Chris Paddock would be 4, but I'm playing mainly on FanDuel tonight. I won't need to get to Chris Paddock. It's mainly going to be Sale and then one of those other 2 for me.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown there for me. I already gave mine. It's going to be Sale. It's going to be Montero, Feltner, and Diaz is kind of the 4 I'm rolling with. Like I said, I'm going cheap at SP2. Getting some of that, getting off some of that chalk SP2 options in Abbott and John Gray. Going to actually attack both those guys with the offenses when we talk there. So that's the hill I'm lying on. I see Jake Swales doesn't agree in the chat. Hey, that's fine, Jake. We appreciate it. I will hit on this first game. Obviously, we're going to talk about right away. This game of the Guardians and the Tigers. Montero, Gavin Williams on the mound. I'll throw it over to you, Hamwich. Talk to me. I mean, Montero, I'm not saying he's an incredible pitcher by any means, but 4K I think is too cheap for him on this slate, given the matchup and how he's looked. I mean, I think he came in relief a game or 2 ago, posted 16.5 DraftKings points, something like that. I don't need 16 DraftKings points at 4K here. When Chris Sale goes out and gets me 25 relative to the slate, and Montero goes out and gets me 10 to 12, I think that's plenty. Allows you to do whatever you want with bats. So that's kind of the reason there. I would say in lineups, I don't play Montero. I definitely love me some Jose Ramirez, who smashes right-handed pitching, Josh Naylor, some of those guys. But overall, this Guardians team just doesn't have a ton of power. They also don't strike out a lot. So I think Montero could even just go out there and navigate enough, maybe pick up a couple strikeouts and get us 10 to 12 pretty easily there. So that's the reason I'm underweight on the Guardians. I also think the Guardians come in higher owned than what I like to see them. I haven't played them much all year. Just be Jose Ramirez for me on the Cleveland side. And then on the Tigers side, I don't mind the Tigers. Like I said, Gavin Williams didn't look great in his AAA start. He didn't go past 5 innings, and he's going to have a pretty hard pitch count limit on him. I think he went 74 pitches, something like that, in that AAA start there. I think if I were to pick a side in this game, it'd definitely be the Tigers. Matt Vierling, Colt Keith, who's on fire right now. Henry Malloy is another cheap guy, 2,500. Mini stacks only for me on the Tigers, and then just J-Ram for me on the Guardians. But do you see something different here in this game in Detroit here?
Yeah, Montero started that game in Minnesota's last time out, was dominant against the Chalk Twins, and I think Festa was going. Festa got blown up that night, but yeah, Montero looked good. I mean, obviously a tougher strikeout matchup tonight against this Guardians team, which they just refuse to strike out. Stephen Kwan has like a 96% contact rate, so it's impossible to strike that kid out. But I'm with you. It's like these guys just don't hit home runs. Not many at all. I mean, looking back, over their data, over 700 plate appearances, they have 25 home runs, which, not a very good rate, but they don't strike out. They play small ball. They still, they're, a little bit above average in stolen bases. I don't think they're the worst stack of the night. I mean, with only 10 teams to choose from, I would definitely say they're in the, the top 50%, right? So top 5 stacks, I think they're going to be popular. I mean, they are a very good baseball team. They just don't hit a bunch of bombs, which is what we want in DFS. And then no Tigers for me. Ton of interest in Gavin Williams. And then I just saw that Parker Meadows is going on the IL. He's not in the lineup, and I don't know why Parker Meadows wasn't on this big league team all season. I mean, he went into Cincinnati and just wreaked havoc, hit a bomb, stealing bases. But their lineup gets very weaker without him, in my opinion. If you can navigate around Green and Keith and Verling, then I think you got it made. So definitely no Tigers. I do have some interest in the Guardians.
Yeah, it would be mainly the lefties for me against Gavin Williams. Struggles with control, struggles with power there. And the Tigers, like I said, Colt Keith, Riley Green, Perez, those three guys. So that's kind of the reason I want only mini stacks there. But like I said, I do have more interest in the Tigers. Definitely more interest in the Tigers bats than I do in playing Gavin Williams on this slate. So this sets up to be a pivotal Ham versus Nades competition here again, like we always love. But yeah, nothing more to add on that game there. Let's head to the next game here, which is an interesting one. Obviously, the red side is going to be probably contesting the Twins for the highest owned stack of the night on the short slate here. And then Abbott on the other end, also going to be the second highest owned pitcher. I mean, like I said, probably 40 to 50% owned here tonight on the slate. Fly ball guy, he's looked terrible as of late. And like I said, 7 of these 9 Rockies hitters have fly ball rates over 30% and ISO numbers north of 200 on the season against left-handed pitching here. Money would say, well, they're not in Coors Field, but where they are, Great American Small Park, 90-degree weather in Cincinnati, one of the best hitting parks in all of baseball. And the Rockies are going to be absolutely unowned tonight. I love some of these Rockies. Brendan Rodgers, Brent Doyle, Toglia, Hunter Goodman, those 3 right there. That's 6, 7, 8 stack of Doyle, Toglia, Goodman. I'm telling you, that three-man stack there, they'll all be sub 5%. I would like to see, or I'm pretty certain. And that 3-man stack there in a 5-3 build could ship someone to tournament. So really like those guys. Tovar at the top. It's all the righties, right? Abbott struggles big time to righties. And I like all those guys a lot. On the Reds side, I like the Reds more as a mini stack here. They're going to be mega chalk here, and they're just dealing with some injuries. It's also annoying that they're likely going to have 3 first basemen eligible only on DraftKings in Candelario, Spencer Steer, and then the Stone minimum 2K dude that'll likely hit in the middle of the order there. DraftKings, you can only play one of the 3. I prefer Candelario the most. So for that reason alone, obviously, Ellie De La Cruz, one of the best bats on the entire slate. Power speed combination, lefty to get to Feltner's weaknesses there. Feltner's actually been pretty good looking at his numbers on the road this season. These Reds do strike out nearly 30% at home against right-handed pitching. I'm going to be underweight on the Reds here, overweight on the Rockies is the approach I'm taking. But I'll throw it over to you, man. Talk to me in terms of this game. Definitely hit on Cincinnati.
Yeah, Cincinnati's going to be popular. I'd prioritize the lefties, in my opinion, against Feltner, and we haven't seen that lineup, but it looks like there's only going to be 4 lefties according to this projected lineup. We'll see what happens when it officially comes out. But my favorite red is Candelario, as you alluded to. He would be my favorite of the bunch. Hopefully, we can get Will Benson out of the 8 or 9 hole. Wouldn't mind him up there. Another stack that's going to be popular, but for rightfully so. I mean, they have above a 5 implied run total, I believe. They're going to steal some bags. They could hit some bombs off Feltner. And then I don't mind that little, 6, 7, 8 combo. I mean, no one's going to play that Nades. This Rockies team, man, they're just bad. Like, they're bad. And Andrew Abbott's, I guess, getting a little bit better in the strikeout department. And this Rockies team at above a 30% strikeout clip over the last 14. It's going to be tough to play them, but when you're 6, 7, and 8, get a shipper. I'm gonna hear about it on Friday, I'm sure, but I'm gonna pass on these Rockies tonight.
All right, perfect. I'll die on the hill alone, or I'll win all the money on the hill alone. Either or, that's all right. There's always more baseball tomorrow. Big 12 gamer tomorrow that I did see. But yeah, I already hit on the Colorado guys. I like the righties a lot. Like I said, it's just a fly ball, attacking a fly ball pitcher in one of the best hitting environments on the slate. You could argue the best hitting environment on the slate there. Definitely the best hitting park on the slate. So that's the reason there. And then looking at the last 30 days for Feltner, I mean, he's going to face at least 6 righties here. He's got a 26% strikeout rate against righties and a ground ball rate north of 60%. I think this is a spot that Cincinnati chalk could go to the bench there, and I could see 2 to 3 runs coming from the Cincinnati side here. The only issue is the Rockies bullpen behind Feltner is not great by any means. So obviously if Feltner gets tagged early, it's going to be a long night for me because I'll be underweight on these Reds. But everything, it's tough. I mean, this Reds offense, I like to play these Reds when they're under-owned and they're going to be sneaky and contrarian just due to their power speed combination. So definitely underweight tonight on the Reds. If I had to pick one bat, it would be Candelario, Ellie De La Cruz, and then I do like Will Benson a lot. But just looking at the numbers, Feltner's very good. He's been good on the road, and he's very good against righties, especially for his $5,500 price point there. So I definitely have more interest in Feltner on the pitching side than I do in these Reds bats. Let's jump to the next game here. We go from one chalk offense to the chalk offense of the slate, but this is the chalk offense that I love. It's the Minnesota Twins, guaranteed 9th inning at bats. The Twins are turning things around. Low strikeout offense overall on the road this season. I mean, they'd be sub 20% if Wallner wasn't in that lineup. He's bringing up their numbers, but majority of this lineup's under 20% strikeouts. They got a lot of power in here, and Flexen, one of the worst pitchers, if not the worst pitcher on the entire slate here. Twins are going to get ownership, but there's ways to get different. Playing a $4,500 catcher that's batting 8th is one way to do that. Wrap it around to the top. Larnach, Veranda, Kepler. I love these Twins here. They're my favorite stack of the night, much like everybody else, but there's a ways to get different. Like I said, using some of these cheaper pitchers with them, some chalk or some contrarian mini stacks against chalk pitchers, and playing these guys at the back half of the lineup. I love these Twins here tonight. On the other side, not a ton of interest in these White Sox batters. Paddock's going to be on a pitch count concern. I don't think he's great by any means. I just like other offenses more. So White Sox, I think, are fine. Mini stacks, Andrew Vaughn, DeJong, Luis Robert would be kind of the 3 that I would look at, but not for me on this slate personally.
Yeah, this Twins team is going to get some ownership, and rightfully so. And they've been swinging a red hot bat versus righties, and Flexen's not that good. So you combine those two, and you're going to see some chalk tonight. Interested to see what happens with this White Sox team, right? Because Paddock has been getting blown up here recently, and no one's playing these White Sox. I mean, if I had to play a White Sox, it would be Jimenez or Robert. Robert looks very nice tonight. DeJong could go yard. I mean, that might be a little sneaky stack. I mean, on a 10-gamer, I don't see the White Sox being the worst. I mean, I do have a little bit of interest in Paddock, but just looking at some of the stuff over here, White Sox could be my sneaky stack of the day. Twins going to be popular. I like the guys up at the top, especially the lefties. Give me some Willie Castro, some Kepler, some Larnach, people like that. And just going to have to get different. Like you said, playing the 8th batter, the catcher in the 8th spot that a lot of people won't play. Certainly don't mind that at all.
Yeah, anytime you see a $4,500 catcher batting 8th, people like to save money at catcher or spend all the way up to, like, obviously the Salvador Perez's, the Contrerases of the world. And Jeffers has been great. He was red hot to start the year. He's got great numbers against right-handed pitching, another fly ball hitter there. So that's one way to get different. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised to see him 6-7% owned, something like that. And that's definitely low owned, especially on a 5-game slate on the chalk offense of the slate. And then, yeah, you alluded to it, the White Sox. It would be the lefties would be my preferred. Paddock struggled between this year and last year to lefties. Realistically, no ground ball ability at all, really, to lefties. I mean, sub 30% ground ball rate to left-handed hitters. ISO numbers are up there. Strikeout numbers are down the tanks. The only issue is there's not many lefties in this lineup. But Nicky Lopez, I guess, if you want to punt second base at 2,500, this would be the time to play a trash bag like Nicky Lopez, I guess, if you wanted to. Andrew Benintendi probably going to hit second here tonight. He'd be probably my favorite bat as a one-off at 3K in the outfield. But, yeah, for me, White Sox, just not going to cut it for me. Like I said, I like the Rockies a lot more. I like this both teams actually in this next game we're going to get to more. So yeah, that's the breakdown there for me in Chicago. It's also pretty good weather there in Chicago. I saw some people talking about concerns in terms of weather in Chicago. I don't see anything. Roth hasn't updated over at RG, but I looked at some other weather sites, and I'm seeing like 0% chance precipitation during the game time. I know there's some storms ahead of time that are going to be there about 5-6 o'clock. This game obviously is at 7:10 Central, so they should definitely be fine from what I'm looking at. Obviously, I'm not no meteorologist or anything, but should be a little hot and humid after a nice little storm comes through. A little muggy, mid 80s there. The temperatures in Chicago, so pretty good hitting environment there as well in Chicago from what I'm seeing. 2 games left to talk about. This next game, I like both sides of this game in terms of offense. Texas gonna probably be the third highest owned stack behind obviously the Twins and the Reds. Obviously, it's all relative. There's going to be probably 5 teams that contest that are all pretty similar in terms of ownership on the small slate. Rangers are definitely going to be up there against Davis Daniel, who has been good at home, but I think he's due for some regression. This Texas team can beat up anyone. My favorite bat by far on this team would be Corey Seager. Love Corey Seager, love Josh Smith, Adolis Garcia. Those 3 bats are kind of my favorite, but for me, I like the Rangers. I like them more as a mini stack just because I don't like too many of these guys in here. The Janikowskis of the world, the Tavareses, some of those guys down at the bottom, I don't have a ton of interest in. But I do like these Angels quite a bit. I already alluded to it. John Gray is going to be one of the highest owned pitchers on the slate. He's looked horrible. He's going to have I think he's in for a long night here. He struggled big time. Fly ball guy there. I like some of these Angels. Taylor Ward, Logan O'Hoppe, Nito, Joe Adell, and then the lefties. John Gray has been terrible against lefties. You got some cheap lefties in there. Another very cheap stack here on a short slate that I don't think picks up much ownership at all. So for me, Angels, I definitely put the Angels above the White Sox as well in terms of low-owned stacks against a pretty chalky pitcher.
Yeah, interesting. That White Sox lineup just came out. No Luis Robert in the lineup tonight. So just food for thought there. But on this game, just looking at these teams are just so gross to stack, I think. I mean, the Angels don't project very well for us over here. So that kind of gives me some interest in John Gray. I mean, his pitch count, he hadn't gone above 75 or 76 in his last 3 outings. But, man, just looking at their projection, it's pretty brutal, Nades. I'll leave the Angels to you. Don't really like the Rangers either, but on a 10-game slate, you may need some pieces. Obviously, Corey Seager is always a great play. Noah Adolis Garcia yesterday, I'm assuming he's back in the lineup tonight. Maybe just been a day off, but they went off for 12 runs without him. Definitely no Angels for me, and more of just a one-off if I went there for the Rangers.
Yeah, no, excellent breakdown there. We definitely differ a little bit there. We agree on Corey Seager. I think Corey Seager is one of my favorite bats on the entire slate. 5K. I think at shortstop, a lot of people are going to play Ellie De La Cruz for sure. And then Carlos Correa on the 2 chalk offenses of the slate. I think Corey Seager comes in lower owned than he should. Smashes right-handed pitching here. I mean, one of the best hitters in baseball there. So love Corey Seager. And then, yeah, we definitely differ on the Angels side. I'm going to take a chance. Like I said, I'm going more condensed at pitcher and a little bit more spread out at offense. Angels definitely crack my top 4 on this slate. I like 2 lower-owned offenses. That's kind of the route I'm taking. Just looking at the numbers, John Gray's been absolutely putrid against lefties, and you should get a lot of cheap lefties. For the record, I do prefer the Angels more as a mini stack. To your point, it's tough to full stack this, but I think you could 5-man stack the Angels for sure here tonight. That's my thoughts there. Last game of the slate, we're heading up to Arizona. Atlanta coming to town. Chris Sale on the mound. Yerber Diaz on the mound. Diaz, they're looking at this guy like a Luis Gil type prospect. He's had a 32% strikeout rate, I think, in AAA this season. Historically, in the minors, he's been 33 to 35% strikeout rate. Huge strikeout arm here. Has a lot of upside, but faces a red-hot Braves team that overall is a pretty low strikeout team. There's some high strikeout bats in there, like a Duvall, right? Like a Matt Olson, like an Austin Riley, at least on the road numbers. Kelenic, even 27% strikeout rate on the road this season. Laureano, if he's in there, 30% strikeout rate. So he does have a lot of strikeout bats in this lineup, a high strikeout arm. He is making his first start here against obviously one of the best offenses in baseball, even with the injuries that they're going through. So talk to me. Are you more on the Diaz train? Are you going to stack these Braves? I will say I much prefer the Braves as a full stack versus one-offs just due to the strikeout ability of Diaz here. But talk to me. Any Braves for you? And then you alluded to some D-backs earlier when we were talking pitching. Personally, for me, I'm not playing any D-backs against Chris Sale. I just don't think it's a slate. But anytime a pitcher is going to be 60, 70% owned here, you can always do the little double leverage situation. Not for me, but talk to me, Hamwich. Where are you going here? Last game of the night.
Yeah, real quick before I get into that, my guy Tolga, you got a new name throwing me off. You got an alias under there. Hey, I know that picture though, Tolga, so I don't know what's going on with that. If you're hiding from somebody or what, but welcome to the show. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, so let's talk about these Braves. I wrote about it yesterday in my write-up. Braves were taking on this Mercado kid from Philly who went out and dominated the Cubs. And you can dominate the Cubs. You can have a 30% strikeout rate in AAA. But this Braves is a different weight class than the Cubs or AAA. So you're making your first ever start going against the Braves and like a Matt Olson, Marcell Ozuna, home run derby participant. Kellenic went yard yesterday. Albies. This Braves to me is my number one stack of the day going up against this kid making his first ever start, right? You're going to have some nerves, going to have some butterflies. Then you're going to go in there facing, 3 or 4 all-stars on the team. It's you're not in AAA anymore, kid. So welcome to the show. Hey, you get to play the Braves. They're my number one stack. We get the full 27 outs. Like them better than the Twins, like them better than the Reds. And then, I'm not going out and saying stack the Diamondbacks. I'm just saying, to your point, if you're playing, 10 teams, I would have at least one that's just full stack of the Diamondbacks just to get different because, it is baseball. Anything can happen. And these guys don't strike out, right? They put the ball in play theoretically. Can they get the BABIP on their side and, hit a couple over the wall? Problem is, though, once Chris Sale goes out of the game, Braves have, one of the top 5 bullpens as well. So it's Braves for me, number one stack of the slate for me. And then don't really love any D-backs. It would just be simply a leverage thing for me.
Yeah, I do agree with you there. I put the Braves above the Reds for sure. And probably even ahead of Texas. The Braves and Texas are close. It's unknowns here. This kid has huge strikeout arm, but obviously struggles with control issues too. Anytime you struggle with control issues against a lineup that historically has a lot of power, right? Ozuna, Riley, Olsen. But overall, the Braves just don't have a very patient offense. Over the course of the season, just a 6% walk rate. Only 3 guys over 8% in Olsen, Riley, and Ozuna. So his control issues, I think, this isn't a matchup where they're super scary. Overall, this Braves team over the course of the season, 28% or 26% strikeout rate. So I'm torn on it. I do think this is a slate where you can get this Braves offense pretty low owned here. And anytime this Braves offense comes in low owned against a pitcher making his major league debut here and not so great bullpen behind him, these Braves could definitely do it. So I put them in probably my like I said, my top 4. I definitely prefer them over the Reds, over Texas probably as well. They're close with Texas, but do give them a slight lean. I'm with you there. D-back side, I don't think you need to full stack them against Chris Sale. I think you get enough leverage if you just mini stack them. It would be Gurriel, Christian Walker, Grichuk, those 3 guys. Assuming Marte's out of the lineup, if Marte's in there, I definitely would include him. Those 3 guys, 4 guys smash left-handed pitching. But I do think this is not the slate to do that. I won't be doing it personally, but definitely crazier things could happen there. How much 5 games we talked pitching, we talked hitters. We're a little different on some stuff, so should be a fun little slate here, a little banter back and forth. We're always shooting DMs back and forth. It's always fun. Gives the people something to laugh about when we get back on here on Friday and see who can take the victory lap over the other. But nonetheless, hopefully we all win money here. I'm going to throw it over to you. Your home run call of the night. Where are you going, man?
Well, I was all prepared to say Luis Robert, and lo and behold, he's not in there. So I'm going to go plan B. My plan B, I'm going to go Mr. Home Run Derby contestant himself, Marcell Ozuna, to go yard tonight in the desert.
Yeah, I like that call a lot. I'm going to a guy on the Colorado Rockies here against one of the chalkiest pitchers on the entire slate. He's hitting sticks tonight. O'Doyle rules. Brenton Doyle, 4,300 outfielder. He's taking Abbott deep left center tonight here. That's going to do it for this Witching Hour show, brought to you by SHIPIT Nation. Again, if you guys are watching on playback, watching right now, and you haven't, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And if you want access to our premium content, check all of our tools out. The Stone, our starting lineup, which is basically our starting lineups page there. It's got the pitcher information, season numbers, home road splits, everything there. We got our hitter rankings, pitcher rankings, premium content, premium projections, education courses for all the main sports. Use that promo code FREE15 flash deal. When I posted the link earlier, you'll see we had a crazy week over here at the Nation. Check out that link right there from our Twitter page. But last chance, this code is going to expire tomorrow. Gets you 7 days access, like I said, behind the paywall for free. No strings attached there. Check us out. Hopefully you stick around because you're winning money, but definitely use that promo code. That's going to do it, though. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Good luck tonight in those contests. Hope to see those SHIPIT Nation logos at the top. For him, which I'm Nadesify. Good luck. We'll catch you guys next time.